You have survived the narcissist and you are free of them. But now you have trust issues. You are forgetful. You have brain fog from time to time. While you are healing, you do have scars. While you are moving on and finding your happy place again, your mind has been messed with in a very cruel and purposeful way. You are traumatized. You have survived, but now you have C-PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. You are finding yourself again, but you know that something is different about you. Maybe you now have flashbacks of the abuse. Maybe you, like myself, are constantly on high alert. You see red flags everywhere and in everyone. You now pay extra close attention to words and actions of others. Depending on your situation, you may be startled at unexpected noises. You might feel detached from your own emotions as you continue to try and find yourself. Maybe you're avoiding places and people or relationships in order to prevent putting yourself in any situation that reminds you about your abuse. You might have extreme emotions of sadness, anger, especially at first. Worst of all, at least in my opinion, you might be feeling shameful, maybe like you're not like others, and even feeling unworthy to live. This is just a short list of symptoms you may be experiencing with C-PTSD after narcissistic abuse. This video is not to explain the narcissist, but to discuss C-PTSD that is found in so many survivors of abuse. C-PTSD can occur as early as childhood in children who suffered abuse from narcissistic parents. These are the people who are supposed to love and care for you above all others. The abuse doesn't stop when the children grow up. I myself have a narcissistic mother, and I have learned to love her from a distance. I keep my communication with her to a minimum, and I avoid getting pulled into any drama that she creates. I also have emotional walls up where she is concerned to prevent her from sucking me in with backhanded compliments, only to twist something up in a way only a narcissist can in order to hurt me again. I see her maybe twice a year for the holidays and never alone. I always want to witness to anything she says or does. At least with others around, she attempts to be on good behavior, but she still gets her insults in. Things were much worse when we were kids. She'd throw things at us, leave us, cheat on my dad. I never felt loved or wanted by my mother. She admitted right in front of my sister and a neighbor not too long ago that she never loved her until she was about 17, and then she sent her off to the military. She didn't love her. She loved that she controlled my sister's future. But it got her away from my mom, and for that, my sister was able to have a better life. Sadly now, though, she is the one who has to deal with my mom because she lives down the road from her. I remember my mom throwing bowls at my sister and slapping her with raw liver in the face. Once she made her sleep on the floor by her bed and forgot she was there, so she claims. She used to keep a fly swatter in the car to hit us with on road trips. During one of the most important times in a girl's life, when I became a woman, she was gone. She had left us yet again, and on the phone I was crying and needed her. She told me instead that if she was there, she would slap me in the face. I said to her, "Well, you aren't here, are you?" And I gave the phone back to my dad, who did nothing because he knew I was right. My dad, bless his heart, took her abuse, her cheating, and leaving all the time because he really loved her, I guess, or maybe it was for our sake. I used to go to my friends' houses for sleepovers, and I knew early on that my mother was different from theirs. My mom was not loving. I envied my friends so much for the relationship they had with their moms. To this day, when I watch a movie that shows a mother and daughter sharing stories, cooking together, a mom giving advice, it makes me miss having a mother like that. Both my dad and stepdad have passed on, and I know that I am alone in this world without any parental guidance. I am left, as are my sisters, With C-PTSD, so many scars, so much trauma from the abuse we took from her, and still do on occasion. I have often said that when my mom passes on, as cruel as it might sound, I'm going to miss the mom that I never really had. I don't hate her. I actually love her, but it's a painful kind of love, because I know that she and I will never have a real mother-daughter relationship. I will never be able to trust her or anything she does or says to be genuine. My guard will always be up with her. In fact, I won't be able to truly relax and feel as if my life is really my own without judgment until she is gone. That might sound like a terrible thing to say, but this is what her abuse has done to me and to my siblings. Perhaps because of her, I was drawn to narcissistic partners throughout my life because I thought it was normal. Real love? I had no idea what that looked like. Those who have developed C-PTSD have endured not just a single act of abuse, though I am not downplaying that, but it is rather a prolonged event of repetitive abuse. When you think about PTSD, you usually think about veterans who have flashbacks as a result of the trauma they faced during the service. It can also be associated with people who have witnessed a horrific event or have been sexually assaulted. And then in 1988, Judith Herman, a professor in clinical psychology at Harvard University, suggested a new diagnosis: complex PTSD, or C-PTSD, was required to describe the effects of long-term trauma. According to Ms. Herman, people who have C-PTSD often also experience emotional regulation difficulties, feelings of emptiness and hopelessness, feelings of hostility and distrust, feelings of difference and defectiveness, dissociative symptoms, suicidal feelings. C-PTSD is rooted in long-term trauma. Emotional abuse, while often more difficult to identify, can also cause C-PTSD. For a child who is abused by a narcissistic parent, their primary interest in you is whatever use you can be to them. Narcissists are very often said to have a grandiose opinion of themselves. It's also about controlling their environment, the attention they receive, and what others can do for them. A narcissistic parent might use you as a shield in a fight, both physically and emotionally. They might put you down to make themselves feel better. Children of narcissistic parents are often looking over their shoulder to be sure that they aren't doing anything to upset their parent. The child lives in constant confusion due to the verbal abuse received from a narcissistic parent. A child of a narcissistic parent might grow up to be a people pleaser for fear of rejection or upsetting someone. They tend to neglect their own needs in order to make others happy just to keep peace. Your version of reality might be so blurred that you believe there is something wrong with you, because the ones who are supposed to love you most have manipulated and made you feel unworthy your entire life. Were you raised by a narcissistic parent? How do you think it's affected your relationships? And how do you think it's caused you to see the world around you? What symptoms do you recognize in yourself of C-PTSD? And how have you tried to heal?